wish you all a happy Women's Day, and this is my first visit to Ludhiana, and I would like to thank Dr. Dami and team for inviting me for this conference to share some of my cases. And my talk is on management of unique smile complications. So I'll be presenting a couple of unique cases that I've seen, some of the first in the world, and how we managed it. So I hope it's interesting. I am a consultant to Carl Zeiss Medtech. So we got this 45-year-old male patient who underwent uncomplicated smile procedure about 6 weeks ago from a colleague. And then he was complaining of blurred vision in both eyes, not improving with glasses. The pre-op refraction was a simple myopia, 2.5 diopters in the right eye and 1.75 with -1 in the left eye. And then after the surgery, post-op, his refraction was about 1 cylinder, improving only to 6.9 and then 8. And in the left eye it was +1.5 with -2.25, mixed astigmatism, improving only to 680. And then my colleague could not find out what was the problem because everything had gone on well and the topography, everything was okay, and then he referred this patient for further management to me. So if you look at the topography of this patient, you can see that the topography itself is quite unremarkable. Both the eyes, this was the post-op topographies. It shows a little bit of astigmatism. Both the OpScan and Pentacam are there, and you can't gather much information from this. And this was the Atlas topography. Atlas topography also was fairly normal. It just says myopic laser vision correction. And if you look at it, the aberrations corneal aberrations are slightly on the higher side, but then we did the eye trace also. Even the eye trace was unremarkable, just some increase in the higher order aberrations, minimal increase in the higher order aberrations. And then we did the ASOCT also and the epithelial thickness. ASOCT was unremarkable. We could see the interface, and if you look at the epithelial thickness maps also, fairly normal. So what could be the problem? Why is this patient unhappy? Why is he not able to see? Why is there a loss in best corrected vision? So this is a mystery, right? And then we dilated the patient and then looked at the retroillumination photographs, and this is what we saw. You can see that the interface is quite irregular, it is pitted, and it is causing a lot of scatter. So this is the reason why there is loss of post-corrected vision. But why should this happen? I asked the colleague to send me videos if he has, because the Visumax records the video of the surgery, and to send me videos. But before that we did a HD analyzer, which is the instrument to pick up interface irregularities and scatter, because you could see that the topography, all the topographies were kind of normal, even the higher order aberrations, nothing much. So, but when we did the HD analyzer, which shows a scatter, the right eye, the OSI was 4. Okay, 4 is abnormally high. It should be within 1.5. And you see the simulated vision below. So that's how the baby looks for the patient. That's how it's supposed to look in the top one, and that's how the patient is viewing it. And in the left eye, the OSI was 8.8. That means the patient cannot see the baby at all. So that's why he was so miserable. Though 6.9 vision, he was miserable, and the other surgeon was so afraid that he's going to get sued. So what is the mystery of the crop circles? You may have heard of the mystery of the crop circles. In UK you have these patterns in the fields, and they don't know why it happens. They think it's aliens causing it. So this also was like crop circles in the interface. And then we reviewed the video. This was the video, and you can see that it is fairly unremarkable. I mean, that is the refractive cut, side cut, and then the cap cut. So not much of OBL, and fairly uniform pattern. And then we looked at the dissection also. The dissection also, he was able to dissect, and he has removed the lenticule completely. So then I asked him to send me the parameters of the laser. We looked at the parameters, the cap thickness and the lens, all that was normal. But what we noticed was, look at this, the energy index was 40. This was among his first few cases. So the energy index was 40, which is, see, normally it's around 28 to 30, but the energy index was 40. He was using a very high energy here. So what that has done is it has pitted the cornea and left those circles on the cornea. So how do we manage this now? So that's the whole question. How are we going to manage this problem where there is a high energy use which has pitted the interface? Now the topography is normal, so topo-link PRK will not help, right? And there are not much of abrasions, so there's nothing to correct there. So how are you going to help this patient? Even with glasses he is not improving. If you give him contact lenses also he is not going to improve because the surface is normal. So then what we decided is, this is the first case of its kind in the world, and then we have actually, I think they have accepted in JCRS online for, so we planned this, we planned circle software with PTK because we had to smooth out the surface. And if you go back and look at the retroillumination photographs, the roughness is mainly in the refractive cut, not in the cap cut. Okay, the pitting is mainly in the refractive cut. So we decided we'll do a circle software with PTK because we convert the flap, the cap into a flap and then do a PTK. So this was the surgery that was done. We used the circle software, and that is the circle software, and it converts the cap of the smile procedure into a flap. And then we lifted the flap. But before that what we did was, if you want to look at the scatter in the interface, then the best is a sclerotic scatter, right? So we used an endoilluminator, and of course it's not that clear here, but with the endoilluminator, if you put it at the limbus, you can actually see the irregularity. And then we lifted the flap, so that is the circle software, and we're lifting up the flap. So complications with smile are by and large very rare, and most of it is suction loss, but then it reduces with time once you know how to talk to the patient. But these are very unique complications. So now see, after I lifted it with the interface, you can see that the irregularity, I don't know if you can notice that, but there is a lot of irregularity on the bed there. So we go ahead and do I think we did a 30 micron PTK, and that's the PTK being done. It's just to smoothen out the stromal bed there. And once the PTK was done, normally PTK is done on the surface. Here we are doing PTK in the interface. Then we put back the flap, and we did that for both eyes. You can see that now you can see the interface is smoother. I don't know if you can appreciate it because it's a little pixelated there, the image. But anyways, it was smoother, and then we put back the flap. And this was the first day post-op results. Uncorrected vision was 6/12, but improved best corrected vision was 6/6. There was a small cylinder still. He had a cylinder pre-op also, but it improved to 6/6. The topography, of course, is unremarkable. That's topography, but what is interesting is the interface photographs. You can see the difference between that is the pre-op and this is the post-op. It has become much smoother. And this is the OSI. This is the right eye pre-op. It was 4, the OSI. Post-op came to 1.8, which is almost normal. So you can see that the baby is much clearer. And this was the eye trace. Eye trace pre-op and post-op, not that much of a difference. So we did it for both eyes, and after that, after 2 months, 3 months, we had that residual refraction. So we did a topo-link ablation after lifting the flap for a second time, and then I think right now he has 6/5 vision in the right eye, and left eye is 6/9 vision. So the take-home message is energy optimization is a crucial factor for visual recovery and quality of vision in SMILE. Aberrometry and topography may not be useful for interface assessment. Retroillumination photography and using the HD analyzer for OSI are more sensitive to measure the interface quality and the scatter. And this is a unique management of interface roughness using circle software BTK. So that was the first case which I wanted to present. Then we have another very unique case. This is management of a unique SMILE complication. So this was a SMILE 33-year-old female. Pre-op refraction was minus 0.75 with minus 3.5 cylinder, and left eye was 2.25 with 3.25 cylinder. And she underwent SMILE procedures, both eyes. I did the SMILE. Left eye had a black patch. And we did the procedure, but she complained of blurred vision in the left eye, not improving with glasses. And post-op refraction, right eye was 6/6, but left eye she had +1, -1, and the best corrected was 6/12 parts only. This is the SMILE procedure for the left eye. You can see the black spot there. It's in the periphery, it's not in the center. If it's in the center, then you cannot proceed. And that is the dissection. You can see the cap dissection is quite easy, but when I'm doing the deeper surface, there is some resistance there, and then I go ahead and then I'm still able to kind of continue the dissection. I remove the lenticule, inspect the lenticule. There are no remnants. The lenticule is intact, so I think it's okay. But you look at the topography, the left eye, the topography is irregular. You can see that the topography is quite irregular, and there is a central steepening which is there, which again is probably something abnormal there. And this is the atlas topography also, which shows some amount of abrasions and irregularity. And this is the ASOCT. ASOCT was unremarkable. Epithelial thickness, again, there's a little bit of irregularity, but not that much. So we were wondering what we should do. Then we again looked at the slit lamp retroillumination, and you can see that there is some irregularity in the interface. So we thought, okay, we are going to let us plan and let us convert this. This is the HD analyzer. HD analyzer OSI was 9. So though the patient has 6/12 vision, you can see the quality of vision is so bad, and there is so much of scatter. That's why they are so unhappy. So we had to do something about it. So we thought we'll convert the cap into a flap using the circle software, and then probably do a topo-link ablation for any irregularity. The other options were contact lenses and topo-link PRK, but again we decided to go with the circle software because basically the problem was with the interface. Patient was not willing to wear a contact lens. So we went ahead and then we planned for a circle software. So this is a circle software which converts the cap into a flap, and then we lifted the flap. When we lifted the flap, I noticed a small ridge there, and then I started lifting it. It was very thin, maybe about 10 to 15 microns, but slowly started scraping on it. So what had happened is, when I actually dissected and lifted up the lenticule in the first surgery, the area of the black spot, there was probably a lamellar separation there. A very thin fragment was left behind, and that is the thin fragment which was causing the elevation in the topo. And then I did a PTK. I did a 30 micron PTK to smoothen the bed and put back the flap. And then the epithelium, there were a few folds because of that irregularity, so I just removed the epithelium on the surface, put a BCL. Uncorrected vision improved to 6/7.5, and you can see the topography has improved quite a bit. And there was a central steepening, and that has completely disappeared. 15-day topography, uncorrected. This is the interface, which is clear. And this is the pre and post OSI. From 9.2, it came down to 2.5, the OSI. And the patient was quite happy. So these are two cases I just wanted to share with you all. So if there are any comments or questions, we can take them.
BTK, we put a masking agent there because it's a regular surface. So that provide me more smooth surface.
No, basically the roughness, it was kind of a rough, you could see it was circles.
Yeah.
So masking will help if you have an elevated area, one elevated area, then you put in a masking agent like a viscoelastic,
Right.
so that ablates only that area which is elevated. Here it was like crop circles, and the elevation and valley was very small. So you do a 30 micron PTK, it makes the entire surface smooth.
Thank you, Dr. Shri Ganesh. I now request Dr. Malli and Dr. Gaurav.